Hello, so today we are doing pot pie. I need a pie crust, so I'm using the pie crust mix. So I've already poured it into the bag. I put some of my butter in here. It calls for 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 whole cup. And we're going to chop it into cubes and put it in there. I already got most of it in there. And we're using a pastry blender, or you can use a fork if you don't have one. And we're going to mix it together until we get crumbs. When it gets crumbly, we're going to add the water. We're going to start with a 1/4 cup of water. You don't want your butter too soft. You want it fairly solid still. I usually make my pie crust from scratch because I got a good recipe for that. But I wanted to try out the Pampered Chef pie crust mix. This is not something you would use the mixer on until they come out with something like this for one of the attachments. That would be nice. It does take a while to get it to mix. Once it gets to be fairly crumbly, then we add water. And this will make 2 pie crusts. When I've made the pot pie before, I've not used a bottom crust and a top crust. I usually just do the top crust. Pie crust is freezable if you don't want to use both of them at the same time. Just make sure you got it wrapped up tight so that it doesn't get freezer burnt. And then when you're ready to use that thaw in the refrigerator, probably overnight. Okay. Kind of cramping the hand there. Go ahead and make a well in the middle, and then 1/4 cup. Cheers! 1/4 cup is 4 tablespoons. And then we'll mix that together. Want it to be a little bit sticky, but we also want it all mixed in. You want to make sure you're using ice cold water, not just cold water. All right, so 60 mils. Okay, making sure. You also, different things affect the dough, altitude, weather. We're in the in-between season where it's supposed to be one, but it's kind of another. If we need more water, we can add a tablespoon at a time. I'm getting there, but not enough. So add a little bit more water. This time. You don't want it too sticky, but you want it's sticky enough that it stays together. Still think we're a little dry. Maybe I'm going to get a dry down there. A little bit more. You can switch over to your hands when you're ready. So we can feel it better. That might be where we're at. Once we get this all mixed together, we're going to divide it into two and then refrigerate it for an hour. I'll wrap it in plastic wrap. I think I need just a little more water. Not used this mix before, so. Mixer. There we go. Now we got a nice ball. Okay, break our ball in about half. Make 2 balls. I did not tear my wrap off yet, so. Alright. This one's heavier. Pinch a little bit off of there. Sunflower, whoa, close enough. Okay, now I will wrap those up, put them in the refrigerator, start the rest of my pot pie, and then get back to you. All right, bye-bye. Hi there. So today we're doing pot pie. I already got the crust in the refrigerator, chilling. I've got a 1/4 cup of melted butter that I put 1/2 cup of chopped mushrooms in and 1/2 cup of chopped onion, and I sauteed those until they were translucent. And then I added, what did I add? 3/4 cup of milk, a 1/3 cup of flour, salt, pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of sage. I got that all cooking, waiting for it to boil. Once it boils, we're gonna let it boil for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're gonna add a packet of pre-cooked, that I pre-cooked peas and carrots. They're ready to go, and 3 cups of chopped chicken, and then we'll be ready to put it in our dishes. I'm doing 6 individuals, and then the pie crust will spread and cut and put on top. You can make 1 big pot pie if you want, or you can do just the little individuals. Up to you. Hiccups. So The recipe also calls for 1/4 cup of pimento and a 1/4 cup of snipped parsley. I don't put those in. I don't care for them in mine, so I don't do it that way. It's a nice thing about recipes. They're not customizable sometimes. All right, I will see you in just a little bit. Bye. Okay, so our pie crust has been in the refrigerator for an hour, so I pulled it out and I went ahead and smoothed it out some. Now I'm rolling the other part of the first roll. I've already cut 3 crusts for my pot pies. Got my silicone pastry mat and my tapered rolling pin with the measurements on the side. This side is centimeters, this side is inches. I take the bowl I'm going to use and I cut around it. Not too hard of a cut because we don't want to mess up my pastry mat. The oven is preheating to 450. And we will bake for how much? We're doing 10 to 12 minutes. So I want to make sure we perforate so that it doesn't explode. Because who wants to clean the oven? Not me. Okay. Reball that. I can get 6 out of this, I'm sure. Might just have to keep reshaping, reballing and re-rolling. Might need to reflour. Usually it does. My other recipe, I do just use a single crust recipe. I'm not cleaning the oven. Okay, as soon as I get this one done, they will all be ready to go in the oven, which is at 395 right now, so a couple more minutes and it will be ready. So, all right, you get the idea. I will see you later. Bye-bye.